Yes, I'd love to make a few comments in response. I appreciate that you came here and that you're bringing voice to a lot of other folks. And we do. We've got libertarians that come to every single one of our events, anywhere we are in the country. So you're well represented. I think part of the challenge and the problem that we are seeing with the hyper-partisanship is the outsized amount of power that the political leadership in both parties has. And this makes it very difficult for a viable third party to exist, frankly. It's very hard to compete, just at a very practical level. But I think I've seen the impact that it has on a day-to-day basis, again, at a practical level in Washington. What does that mean when you have virtually unlimited amounts of money that if you're a multimillionaire, you could give millions of dollars to one political party or another. Whereas for a candidate, the contribution limits are $2,800 per election. Pretty huge disparity there between the two. So what result does that have? It has, again, incredible amount of power and leverage that the party leadership has to then hold over candidates within their own parties, and I've seen this happen in real time on the House floor, where there's an important issue or big vote coming up, and those who are thinking about voting against the way their party is asking them to vote are almost bullied and saying, hey, look, if you vote against this, or if you vote for this, there will be consequences. When you need our help, we will not be there for you. This is unfortunately having an impact on people's responsibility that they have to their constituents, of actually thinking about what's in their conscience, about what's actually in the best interest. Is this legislation going to help people or hurt people? Then they're starting to think, oh, well, gosh, now let me think about my reelection, and how is this going to have an impact on that, and are they going to be there to help me? Are they going to have my back? All of these other things that really should not be a part of that thought process that any elected leader has. That thought process should consist of one thing and one thing only. Am I voting to help improve the quality of life, helping serve the well-being of the people who I represent, the people of our country, or not? That should be the driving motivation. Unfortunately, that's really not what we have. That's what drives this hyper-partisanship. People are thinking only about the next election and who gets more power, rather than actually saying, hey, represent your constituents, do what you believe is right. I may disagree with that. I may disagree with your vote or your approach, but you have to do what you believe is the right thing to do. I hold our freedoms dear. Every event that we have, you may have noticed as you came in here, we have free pocket-sized copies of the Constitution and Bill of Rights that we hand out to everybody, because I think it's important for us to remember what those mean. Where you're raising concerns about the Second Amendment, often I talk about concerns with regards to the First Amendment that are constantly and consistently under threat. Where in this culture that we exist in today, there's this cancel culture, where if you're saying something that I find to be offensive or that I disagree with, then as the kids say on Twitter, delete your account. Silence. What kind of society do we live in today that does not encourage dialogue, debate, dissent, protest, agreeing, disagreeing with your elected leaders and in our government? That's not a reflection of how our country was founded. We may disagree on the details, but the way that I view our Constitution, Bill of Rights, specifically the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, just as with the First Amendment, it is not completely unlimited, that there is an exception there that exists for the safety and well-being of people. Similarly, with the Second Amendment, I agree with what you said. I think that there has to be some common sense regulations in place to make it so that the safety and well-being of people are not harmed, which is what occurs when you have folks who seek to do harm to others are able to go in and legally purchase a gun. That's the concern that I have.
But let me ask you this. Why should one bad actor take my freedom away from having a gun? No matter if it's an AR-15 or whatever. I find it appalling. Now, you got the libertarians to believe what I believe, but the Democrats are going, hell no, we're going to take our guns or whatever. Beto, hell yes, rather. That was my answer.
He's not in anymore, though.
But no, but the point is, all of them believe what Beto said. They're just not saying it now.
I don't.
Well, I know, that's why I'm sitting here. But listening, I mean, like I said,
Well, just like, I think it's dangerous for us to cast a broad brush and say you, because you're a Republican, vote the same way, or you believe the things that all Republicans believe, or whatever I believe Republicans believe. Every one of us is different. So I think it's important just to recognize that. Yeah, look, again, we can agree to disagree on this, but even as you look at a well-regulated militia, it's not an unregulated militia. That's not what the Constitution says. It talks about a well-regulated militia. Just like our First Amendment rights are not completely unlimited, there's a caveat for the safety and well-being of people. I believe the same applies for our Second Amendment rights as well. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you again. And this is a great venue. This is a great venue.
It's awesome.
You've been in the news in a lot of different ways lately.
Yeah.
From not just what you're doing, but what other people's opinions. And I think it's all in line with the range of people we have here: libertarians, Republicans, independents, all kinds of people coming here. And I think it's all in line with this idea that your whole background politically, not being afraid to speak up when you disagree on matters of principle and integrity, including within your own party. And I think we've seen how the sad reaction and this kind of pushback. But this is not so much a question, but just to let you know, I talk to a lot of people and I'm in communication with a lot of people. And I think by and large this has helped you. It has raised your visibility. If you're on that kind of a list, on certain people's target list, I think that speaks a lot. Yeah. And a lot of people are, you know what a lot of people are saying? They're saying all the way through the primaries, all the way to the convention, all the way to the election. Don't stop. Thank you.
I won't. I won't.
Hi, my name's Bob White. I live in Samberton, and I've seen you on Tucker Carlson about 4 or 5 times, and I'm wondering if there are any repercussions you have felt as a result of speaking out what you're saying tonight on that show.
Bill, you said your name was Bill? Bob. Thank you very much, and thank you for your service. Yeah, a little bit. There are those, who'll drop comments on my social media pages, or people who won't say something to my face, but feel very free to say very nasty things on Twitter, who criticize me for going on Fox News, and specifically going on Tucker Carlson's show. My answer to them is, I'm speaking to people at home. I'm running for president to serve all Americans, not just those who watch MSNBC or CNN. All Americans. And if I'm only willing to talk to people who live in certain places in the country, or who choose to get their media from certain sources but not others, then that would be a poor reflection on the kind of president that I would be. I'm interested in going and meeting people where they are, wherever they are. That includes on the media as well as in person. How I challenge those who levy this criticism against me is I ask them, are you actually listening to what I'm saying? Listen to the message that I'm delivering. It doesn't change whether I'm on one news show or another news show, or if I'm in one part of the country or another part of the country, my message has been incredibly consistent for as long as I've been campaigning for president, and it's reflected through the work that I've done in Congress. If we would listen more to the substance and the dialogue that's possible when we do that, then we would be able to cut out so much of the toxic, divisive noise that we hear of name calling and all of these other things that that are really unfortunate and extremely hurtful and undermining what I believe is the task before us, which is to come together as a country, for our country, and for each other.